I gotta, yeah. Both of us have we've got seasoned beards now, and we they're longer than when we knew each other, saw each other in person. But I gotta ask, what happened to this guy?
Oh, well, this is my pandemic beard.
Yeah, you and
So
lots of people. This video is brought to you by Sam Ash, America's largest family-owned music business. We'll hear more about them later. For now, let's get on to today's video. Welcome to Room 6, the channel dedicated to local and not so local music and the people that make it, including my guest. And my guest today is a touring musician who plays his own style of indie folk rock. He's a singer-songwriter, a guitar instructor, and the host of Utah on the Mic. And I met him actually at Money Plays in Las Vegas at an open mic that was amazing, and it's gone, and it's gone. Um, Shout out to Mike Z. Hey,
yeah.
so his new single "Just Enough" is out now, and I'll be reviewing it on the channel here in a few days. So make sure you subscribe, ring the bell, so then you'll be notified. Please welcome to the channel, Michael Lewis Austin. Say hi, Michael.
Hey, how's it going?
Woo. I don't know if you heard him. They all said, yeah. Anyway, so uh, you prefer Michael, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And real quick, right off the bat, I haven't seen you in it's got to be a decade now, right?
Maybe close to it. Maybe like 7 years or something like that. Well,
Well,
probably a decade.
yeah. Both of us have we've got seasoned beards now, and we they're longer than when we knew each other, saw each other in person. But I gotta ask, what happened to this guy?
Oh, well, this is my pandemic beard.
Yeah, you and
So,
lots of people. I
um, I,
can't. I'm just not allowed to shave. My wife and child are like, no, no, we like this. Don't shave it.
well, that's eventually what it turned into. Is my wife saw me with the longer beard, and she's like, I really like it, and she keep growing it, and now she refers to it as her beard, and and
Nice.
if I get it trimmed, I come home, she gets very upset. So yeah.
Right on. I just had that because I was like, oh yeah, that's right. He had like the chin scraper. He had like hardly any
Yeah,
beard.
yeah.
Yes. So same with me. And right on. Right off the bat, welcome to the channel. And if you don't know who Michael Lewis Austin is, thank you for watching. Appreciate it. Go ahead and tell him a little bit about yourself and tell him about Utah on the Mic.
Okay, so I used to be in Las Vegas with you, and we moved up here during the pandemic because, as you know, uh, there was nothing going on musically in Vegas. So I went from performing lots of gigs and having lots of guitar students to zero. My wife's in the army, and so she was like, "Hey, let me see if I can get some temporary full time work." They offered it to her up here, and like, who thought the pandemic was going to go on longer than 2 or 3 months? But 8 months later, you know she's like, you should check it out, it's actually really nice up in the Salt Lake City area. um I went up and everything was open up here, and so and she was really making really good money, so we made the move. I really miss Vegas. So, and a lot of things about it, like you can get a taco at any time that you want, kind of thing. um so we live up here now. I started Utah on the Mic because I helped Mike Z kind of come up with the idea for Vegas on the Mic when he had hired me to record some guitar on some of his original compositions. And we obviously all saw how well it did. And I even hosted a singer songwriter showcase at Sam Ash Music down there for a while because it was an all ages one. And so, when I moved to Salt Lake City, I'm like, man, this is my fourth music scene. And, every time you move to a new music scene, you have to start over and you have to kind of pay your dues all over again. And so, I was doing whatever I I knew that worked to like connect with people and get music gigs. And I kept running into songwriters at open mics and stuff that would say, oh, there's not really a good singer songwriter scene, or the songwriters around here don't really kind of come together and help each other out, sort of thing. And I don't know how true it is, but that's what I was hearing from people. And so then I was like, oh man, I probably should just do an open mic similar to what worked in Las Vegas. And I named it Utah on the Mic, sort of like in like an ode to Mike Z, because I wanted to pay tribute to that, so to speak. And it's been really great. It started off with 3 songwriters showed up the first week, and I basically told them what I was trying to do, and then it grew to 15 songwriters, and then it grew to 30 songwriters, and then people start telling me to go to these open mics that existed around the area that I didn't know about, that were apparently really good open mics. Like there's a great open mic at a place called the Alliance Theater in Salt Lake City, hosted by the Artistic Underground. And a lot of those people come to my open mic. I go to their open mic. And I've even had, you know, a couple of beers with other open mic hosts and talk to them about, how we want to help the music scene out and stuff like that. And so, and we recently moved it. We had our last week at a venue called The Break in Murray, Utah, and we're moving it to a place called Pat's Barbecue, still in Salt Lake City. It's going to be on Tuesdays from 6 to 9, and now it's going to be all ages. And we do a similar thing, like we video people, and it's not as good as Mike Z's video footage, because the guy had a degree in broadcasting, and so and had really nice equipment, and plus everybody's got super awesome camera phones. So I just video it and I send it to everybody so they can have content. But the unique thing that we do is I've been sponsored by 2 music stores. One music store just provides us with like a really nice high-end excuse me, acoustic guitar. And then the store that I teach at, called Guitars Are. Oh, the first store is called Acoustic Music Salt Lake City, and then the store they teach at, called Guitars Are, they basically give me an effects pedal for a giveaway the last open mic of every month. And I basically, everybody gets an entry into the giveaway if they show up to the open mic, perform, they stay and support all of the artists, it doubles. And the same thing goes for if they bring an audience member, they get another one. And then if the audience member stays and supports everybody, it doubles. So we've given away something like over $6,000 worth of music gear already since last August. And and people love it. Like they're winning, like, Boss, pedal tuners, Earthquaker devices, reverb pedals, digital delay pedals, looper pedals, Boss looper pedals. And I'm always talking about how you guys are winning this because you're staying, you're supporting each other. So now people are starting to play shows together, and so it's working out really well.
Wow, that sounds. First of all, kudos to you. That's an awesome idea. It's like they got skin in the game, kind of to hang out and not only hang out but also support, whether they play it or not. So
Right.
that's a great idea. I wish that's that gives me some ideas for some stuff that I'm doing here in town. Um, but also, thanks for all that.
Yeah.
Um, so by the way, if you want to be featured on Room Six, whether reviewed, interviewed, or both, like Michael, hit me up using my email address or click the Room 6 social media link. They're both down in the description, and the social media link tells you what I'm up to online, what else I'm doing, how you can support the channel, and cool things like that. Speaking of which, want some merch? Room6.shop. I have things like this. Do you remember to be amazing today? At the end of every video I always say, remember to be amazing. which is my own little kind of ode or homage to Hank and John Green and the Nerd Fighters. And if you know what I'm talking about, DFTBA. So, moving on. Now, do you play outside of Utah at all? Because it said touring. You're a touring musician, so
I do. So I do still play in Vegas. I'm a member of the Altogether's band, and although they're playing this St. Patrick's Day and I can't be with them because I already have a gig up here, but I do shows out of town. Um, and there's a mountain circuit up here that I am starting to explore where it's like you can play in Montana, you can play in Colorado, and you can play in Idaho and upper parts of Nevada, where you're just following like these bars and these small towns throughout the mountain range. So, but yeah, I've played out on the East Coast. That's where I'm from. uh, and I haven't probably done it in a few months, but it's also been winter. So I was driving the first year or two I lived up here. I was driving back and forth between Utah and Las Vegas doing shows quite a bit. Um, I recorded my album at Jaguar Studios, which is owned by Thaddeus Correa. He's the son of the late and great Chick Corea, and so I would drive down, spend the weekend on his couch, and do some more of my album, and then I'd go like play somewhere locally, like in Henderson or something like that, like at the Gold Mine Tavern or something. And I played at the Red Dwarf a few times too.
yeah, I thought I saw your name pop up occasionally on like flyers or whatever.
Right.
So, very cool. Next time you're in town, let me know. See
Yeah.
if I can swing by. Um, and you mentioned the Altogether's, which actually leads me to my next question. So I was going to bring them up because I remember. So how does the Altogether's compare to Mouthful of Dimes?
Oh wow, that's an old band I was in. That's like wow, it's going back. Well, Mouthful of Dimes was kind of like, I would say it was probably like if you took like the first version of Sunny Day Real Estate and early Smashing Pumpkins and like threw it in a blender. That's kind of what we sounded like. I
Wow.
sang a lot without even knowing Sunny Day Real Estate existed yet. I sang a lot like the lead singer of that band. I even had somebody go, "Hey Mike, so are you recording an album with a band behind her back?" And they put the CD in the car stereo, and I was like, "Holy shit, that sounds like me." I was like, "Who is this?" And so so yeah, that was more of a like a full on like emo kind of rock band, and and that was a band that I almost got signed in back in the day. um but the Altogether's, I mean, you've heard us. We're kind of like a, I don't know if I would call it new grass. We're just kind of like a weird bluegrass band that very rarely plays bluegrass songs. Like we're more likely to be seen covering like a Lady Gaga song, but make it sound like it's gypsy jazz or like Dust Bowl revival type of music. I mean, we used to play like, Baba O'Reilly by The Who, but Ken Osborne, who's the lead singer and the main songwriter in that band, uh, wrote a lot of songs for the band, most of them. I wrote one called Sonata and Whiskey, and I sang it. Um, but both bands were amazing, both completely different. Um, I had fun with both of them. I was only 19 years old when I was in Mouthful of Dimes, and everybody was like 27. So they're all, that's a big age gap in a lot of ways, especially like maturity level. Like when you're 19 and you're in a band with like a bunch of 27-year-olds, And I was like the young, talented dude that's how they would word it, that they found, in another band, and they're like, come join our band, and so it was a cool experience for me. We opened up for a lot of cool bands back then. We opened up for like Nada Surf and the Spin Doctors and Letters to Cleo, I think, and we even opened up for that MTV Real World band Rain Dance. So with the guy Andre in it. But the Altogether's I thought was cool because it was the first band that well, maybe the second band, but the first band that I really liked being in as like the lead guitar player slash rhythm guitar player. And and I also really enjoyed being able to help out like Brenna the cellist. We did a lot of vocal harmony arrangements together for the band that I always thought sounded amazing. And it was like I had really good harmonies in Mouthful of Dimes, but it was just the lead guitar player doing them. Whereas in the Altogether's, it was 4-part harmony, and then when Brandon joined, it was 5-part harmony. And it just always sounded amazing. I miss both bands, but I really, really miss being in the Altogether's, and I'm still in it. So I guess what I should say is I miss us playing uh, as frequently as we did. Like, we had amazing shows at the Pioneer Saloon that, you know, I they're just awesome. So, it was like our blow off steam show. There was like Cindy standing on top of a picnic table playing her upright bass, Ken running across the bar playing his Irish tenor banjo. We're all like trying to play Thunderstruck after 4 hours of drinking Jameson and beer all night. And so it was pretty awesome. So
It does sound awesome, and because I listened a little bit to Mouthful of Dimes, like I found some stuff, but the Altogether, of course, is a whole other level, but also a whole other genre kind of thing.
yeah, yeah,
And
completely.
so I was really wondering, like, what was how did they jive? So thanks for answering that.
Yeah,
Um, you actually lead me into one of my usual interview questions. I normally start off with this, but I knew there was more, going on than that I wanted to find out first. So
sure.
you OG Room Sixers, you know what's coming. I want to talk about your earliest musical influence, and by that I mean, do you remember a moment where you said, "I want to do that"?
Yeah, it was really early. I think it was like 3 or 4 years old, right? And uh, I was sitting on my mom's bed, and she was cleaning the house. She was like doing spring cleaning or something like that. And she just basically like put me on a bed and was having me like read some books or something like that, or look at color or something. Um, and she put on an actual vinyl record, and it was Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And when I heard the crackle of the needle, and when it came in, I was like for a 4-year old kid, I was like instantly aware of like how amazing it was. And I was also aware of, I could put my attention on all of the different parts, all the different instruments, and focus in on one or more or all of it at the same time. And I could hear like the difference in the vocal harmonies, and I just kept thinking like, wow, like I thought it was weird but cool that I had this like kind of like way of perceiving it. And I listened to both sides of the album just sitting there in my mom's bed, and then I asked her if she had any more music like that. And so then she put on Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, and same thing. And I was listening to the whole album, and then finally she put on Simon and Garfunkel's Greatest Hits. and and then I just couldn't stop singing. Um, and so that was like, I want to do music, like, since I was 4, so that was pretty much it.
Wow, that's quite the pedigree. I mean, that's you want to hear something funny? I fell asleep to Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band all the time growing up. So I definitely know what you talk about. Over time, you start hearing the different elements and as a singer songwriter myself, the lyrics you start realizing like, oh, you don't have to write just about whatever's going on in your life. You can write
Right,
about nonsensical crap if you want. That's fine.
right.
Yeah, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, LSD.
Yep.
So, um, from there, we're gonna take a quick little break here.
Okay.
Hear a message from future Josh, and I think I'm getting a little low here. My room 6 whiskey. So we're gonna have a quick booze break.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Thanks, Past Josh. Has this ever happened to you? You're on the road in an unfamiliar place, and tonight's show is in 3 hours. During sound check, you suddenly realize you need a new cable, or your distortion pedal went out, or your in-ear monitor's on the fritz. Whatever it is, you're in dire straits. No, not that one. Anywho, you're in trouble. What do? You find the nearest Sam Ash music store, that's what. Since 1924, Sam Ash has had an enduring passion for music and helping people like you and me make music. When you find yourself in need of state-of-the-art sales and support from people that take music as seriously as you do, hit up Sam Ash to save the day. For a limited time, you can use my affiliate link down in the description to get a Boss brand 24-piece solderless pedal board cable kit for over $30 off. This kit allows you to customize your pedal board on the fly without any soldering or cable stripping for less than $7 a cable. It uses 24 karat gold plated contacts and bidirectional barrel design and includes all the parts and tools needed to clean up your pedal board situation and make stage load in and load out a lot quicker and easier. Thanks to Sam Ash for being a sponsor, and let's get back to the show. We're back. And if you're just joining us, what are you doing joining in the middle of an interview? What's wrong with you? But talking to Michael Lewis Austin out of Utah, but I know him from Vegas days, and he does come to Vegas, but he has an upcoming show what was it?
May 3rd.
May 3rd that he's going to talk about in a little bit. Stick around. We're going to be seeing his music video for his song Paper Dolls. So that's going to be awesome. Now then, tell me about May and a show.
Okay, so May 3rd, we're playing at a venue called Piper Down. It's in Salt Lake City. It's a great, like British pub. They got Scotch eggs and everything. It's gonna be starting at 9 o'clock. Band that's opening up for us is Sean Baker, Recycled Stardust. They're an existential folk punk band.
Okay.
Yeah, they're well. When you see them, you'll get it. They're really good. And So they're opening for us. It's going to be a single release show. We're releasing the single Paper Dolls, and which they'll see a video of in a little bit. And yeah, it'll be awesome. It's a favorite place of mine to play. It's great atmosphere, great audience.
Sounds cool. I wish I could be there. So moving on to another question for you. Talking about shows, what is your favorite show memory? Whether it was with the Altogether's or Mouthful of Dimes or just playing as yourself, do you have a favorite show memory that things just went really like you checked off rock star wish list stuff, or things went way off the rails? You know, if you had to pull out a story at a party, someone's like, "You're this one time." What do you got? What's your favorite show memory?
I would say so my wife entered me into this Wyoming songwriter showcase like over a year ago. And
Cool.
yeah, and it was cool. It was a cool contest. It was a contest, and winner takes home like $5,000 and recording gear and all this other stuff, right? And
Wow.
and so we had to take like a week or so off of work and drive all the way up to Casper, Wyoming, which is probably like a 6-7 hour drive from where we lived. And so it was on a Tuesday, right? And I believe it was at a place called Pioneer Brewing, which is a really cool, basically like movie theater type theater venue, um, that you could, watch some movie on a gigantic movie screen and drink beer, right? So the Sunday night, um, before, she got an email from the guy who organized it, and he said, "Hey, I just realized you guys aren't from Wyoming. I can't have you in the contest," right? And so my wife, who's an awesome person and very understanding, um, she was still kind of firm with him. She's like, "Look, like we paid an entry fee. Um, we took a week off of work. Like that's not fair. Like it doesn't say anywhere in the rules that you have to be from Wyoming in order to enter the contest, right?" So, like to accommodate us, the guy is a super nice guy. You know, he said, "I tell you what, since you guys have already taken the time off anyway, and you've gotten a hotel and everything, why don't you just come up and I'll have them do like a 20-30 minute set before we kick the whole contest off, right?" So I don't know. I say there's probably about 100 people there, in this theater, and I got up and I performed like 20 minutes worth of my originals, and I just got a really, really nice positive response, lots of applause, and what was even better was when I got done, and after the whole thing was over and I was hanging out, I had like a line of people uh that wanted to talk to me, and like 10 or 15, maybe even 20 people. And as I was like packing my stuff up, they just kept all coming over and talking to me, and some of them were like, "Were you last year's contest winner?" And saying like super nice things.
Wow.
I was like, "Oh my God, I want to come play here again," you know, and and it was just really cool, to get that kind of response, and it not like I was like, you know, like bummed out about not being able to do the contest, but it was just really cool, and to have that kind of, like, I've never had people line up to talk to me before or after like that kind of a thing. So that just made me feel really good, and I met a lot of really cool other songwriters, and it's definitely a place I want to go back to and perform at.
That is so awesome. I bet you wish you had a merch table at that moment, right?
Yeah, I know. That's one thing I have to get better at, is I have to get better. My wife actually invested a bunch of money into being able to make my t-shirts and my stickers and stuff like that. So it's just finding the time. She's a very busy lady. She's the suicide prevention manager for the US Army up here. So she's like super busy.
Well, in that case, please thank her doubly for her service.
Yeah,
That is
absolutely.
amazing. And talking about that show, I have a question for you. You still write set lists on your hand?
Sometimes, it's I feel like I always forget something. I've got one of those really nice Diodario like camera bags for like musicians, and there seems to be always some. It's usually nothing major. I mean, I did forget an amplifier one time, but that's like once in a million kind of thing. But I usually forget things like, like picks or a set list, and so it's like the little things. So like I'm strumming my guitar either with my fingers or a quarter, that kind of stuff. So I think the last time I wrote a set list on my arm was, I played this really cool bar up in Ogden, Utah, called the Funk and Dive, and I wrote on my forearm with a Sharpie once again. So
Very cool. Yeah, no, I because I we've all had that moment of like, oh crap, what am I going to play? And you got to like write it out real quick or something. But
Right.
you had a picture online of you with your set on your hand,
Yeah.
and I was reminded of that moment from Ocean's 11 where he writes like the schematics or whatever on his hand. He's wiping his hand on his forehead and he's all sweaty and it's like blurry. And I was wondering if did that ever happen to you?
Well, what has happened is it rubbed off on a really nice acoustic guitar, and I almost had a heart attack, but it came off.
Oh well,
So,
that's good. That's good.
like, yeah.
Right on. We have a couple more questions, and then we're going to see that music video for Paper Dolls. So stick around for that. Um, Number one of those two questions is how has being performing in Utah? I assume at some point you've performed outside in Utah, right?
Hmm.
So how how's the care? Let's talk to like musicians who really want to take care of their equipment, not like me, and who maybe they're younger and they don't know what to do if they're coming to Vegas or they're from Vegas and they're going to some place that's not as dry. What do you do differently to take care of your instruments from when you lived here as opposed to in Utah?
Well, surprisingly, Utah's really dry. It's a high desert. Um, it's just a colder version of Vegas. It rains a little bit more. Um, we're basically in a bowl surrounded by mountains, similar to Vegas, right? And there's a lot of snow in the wintertime. Uh, there's this thing called the lake effect. Um, and I don't know if I totally understand it, but has something to do with like, you know, snow clouds will form over the mountains, and then as they drift past the lake sends them back, I think, or something along those lines. And so they get even more snow. But it's pretty dry up here. So, and I have really nice acoustic guitars, so I have to keep I use the Diodario humidity packs, and I keep them in my cases. I also have a humidifier in my room, so I try to keep it at like around between 40 and 50% humidity. And then, like Vegas, you know, what I try to do is when I'm not playing my guitar, like let's say I've got a show where I'm doing 3 45-minute sets, I put it back in the case with the humidifier, and that keeps it fine. Otherwise you're going to end up with problems, as you know, like you'll get that little belly bubble thing down by the bridge of your acoustic guitar, and a lot of people don't think that's from too much humidity, which can be, but it's definitely not out on this part of the country. It's definitely dryness, and so you know, and I kind of had a false sense of security when I came up here because it didn't seem as hot as Las Vegas. So I was like, oh, because I'm from New England originally. So in New England, you only need to keep your acoustic guitars in their cases with humidifiers in the wintertime because everybody cranks the heat. But the rest of the year, it's humid. So you don't have to you could just have it hanging out in your room all day and it'd be fine. Um, that's not the case over here. So yeah. So it's the same thing. It's just colder.
Right on. I actually spent a winter in Salt Lake City, and
Okay.
for me, all I remember is cold, and snow up to my thighs, kind of thing. And I just wondered if the cold
Right.
had affected, but it sounds like not. It sounds like you didn't really have to worry about it too much, so that's cool.
Right.
Um, Last question. You made it. Yay! Are you
Woo-hoo.
ready? Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Now we're gonna get into the psychological. No, I'm just kidding. But
Okay. Yeah, sure.
remember, stick around for that music video, Paper Dolls. And if you want to be on the show, like him, hit me up. I want to circle back to that earliest musical influence question. Okay, we're gonna talk to little Michael. All right, we're gonna talk to little 4-year-old Michael.
Awesome.
And this question came about over the years of interviewing people. I used to say like, "What's your advice to new musicians or something?" But really, what is one thing you got a time machine? What is one thing you wish you could go back and say, "Hey, you're going to need to know this." All right, to young Michael or to new musicians, and don't say change your strings.
No, I would. No, I would say um you have to um find a balance, right, between being the artist and being the business person that you need to be in order to have a career in music. Um, and you also have to, however, you figure out a way to do this, is you have to make sure that you handle the stress that can come about from these two things clashing with each other, because they do kind of clash sometimes. Because who doesn't want to sit at home and just write music all day or jam with their band all day, right? And there's even a difference between being a solo singer songwriter and being in a band where everybody contributes equally, right? When you're in a band situation, you can even like ask the members like, hey, can you print posters while I post on social media, and can who's the best person at networking in a room, and who can call this uh, radio show and get us a segment on there, that kind of stuff, right? There's like a team going on. There's a lot of artists that are doing it on their own, right? And that can become even a little bit more daunting because you're trying to do everything yourself. That's kind of like where I come from. Is I used to be in bands, and then after the All Togethers, when I moved up here, I was like, just write. I wrote like something like 50 songs during the pandemic, and years of built up song ideas, and then nothing to do for like a year, right? And so I've found that I try to like organize things where like maybe like Monday through Wednesdays are my mornings to like write music before I go teach lessons, and then Thursday through Friday I'm emailing venues, talking to other musicians, doing the business side of it. And then the weekends, because I am married and I have a family, that's my family time. And I make sure I keep that in as well. And I do sometimes travel on the weekends for shows, or I have gigs and stuff like that, but I still make sure everything kind of balances out so I maintain sanity. And I go for walks, and I work out, I I read, self-help books. I listen to some lady on YouTube that has amazing positive affirmation videos. It's like, so I try to keep myself positive, but I also at the same time, if I do get stressed out or bummed out, I allow myself to experience it, but I try to like keep moving. And my wife's awesome, like we have really good communication between each other, and when she needs somebody to listen to her, I just listen, and vice versa. And I have a few friends like that, and so it's all about balance and being nice to yourself, and even though it's not always easy. So that's what I would say. I would give advice to myself younger, because I remember I used to get frustrated a lot, and I'd be really hard on myself about like maybe a band not working out, or somebody not agreeing to sign a recording contract, and thinking like, oh, what did I do wrong, that kind of stuff. And looking back on that, I stressed myself out a lot. So, and then the only other thing I would say is, and this doesn't always work, but you just have to be mindful of the people you surround yourself with, because I have been in a couple of situations throughout my life. Uh, I'll even dare say relationships where, for whatever reason, in the beginning, these individuals were okay with me being a musician artist. And then once things got serious, it was like, even though I was making money doing music, it was like, oh, when are you going to get a real job? When are you getting a 9 to 5? When you do this, right? So I feel like artists and musicians have to look out for that, because sometimes, you attract, the type of person that won't let you do what you need to do. And most musicians, artists, and songwriters, it's not like, I don't feel like it's a choice. I don't feel like it's like I could take or leave music, especially with what I told you about my experience at the age of 4. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to do this, and for me, every time I've tried not to do it, which has normally been a suggestion from somebody besides me, I've been miserable, so I would say, balance and surround yourself with the kind of people that are going to align with your goals and support them.
I couldn't say it any better than that. That's all really good advice. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
And thank you for watching, by the way, and thank you for being on the channel, sir. So stick
Yeah.
around. We're going to see that music video for Paper Dolls, and then we'll catch you in the outro. But in the meantime, Michael, temporarily say goodbye to the nice viewers.
Bye, everybody.
See you in a bit. I want to thank Michael Lewis Austin for coming on the channel. It was a great interview and an awesome music video. If you want to know more about him, check out those links that I put down in the description for all his social media. And what the heck, maybe pick up some of his music. How about that? In the meantime, if you want to see more videos like this, please click up here. If you want to, subscribe, click over there and ring the bell. And if you want to hear my own music, please click over there. Remember to be amazing, and we'll see you next time on Room 6. Say goodbye, Michael.
Bye, everybody.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.